Welcome to awareness, the most misunderstood superpower. We are translating into 18 languages. Does that include English, Angel? So we're doing this in 19 languages. Thank you, everybody who showed up. Thank you, amazing translators. I think we have like over 7,000 people registered for this, which really blows my mind because I didn't realize that awareness was really that popular. So this is a great indication of where things are headed. Let me give a little lecture about awareness. So awareness is free. It comes to all of us abundantly. It asks nothing of us. You don't require an explanation or a reason to have it. In fact, the more you try to explain awareness, and even sometimes the more you try to understand awareness, the more you reject it, dilute it, and refuse it. Because awareness is not predicated on any logic. Everything you've misidentified and misapplied awareness as, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. All of your projections, expectations, separations, rejections, and judgments of awareness, spoken and unspoken, cognitive and non-cognitive. Will y'all revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate this, please? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Wow. Okay, so that funny thing that I'm saying, right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds, that's the access clearing statement. If any of you guys are watching this now or in the future and you're not familiar with the access consciousness clearing statement, I'm going to be using it a bunch. I'm not going to go into huge detail about what the access consciousness clearing statement is. In fact, I'm just going to refer you to theclearingstatement.com, where Dr. Dane here does a beautiful explanation of what it is and how it works. So please, if you have like this question about this weird thing that I'm saying, because it does sound weird, go check that out, okay? Tell all your friends about it and then use the clearing statement a whole bunch. Even if you don't know if it's working, just use it. It's amazing. So all of the implants and explants that you have, that you created, that you put in yourself, or that somebody else put in any lifetime, dimension, or reality to distort and pervert easy knowing, will you destroy and uncreate everything that allows any and all of those implants or explants to exist? Right and wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And wow, okay, cool. Everybody else's projections, expectations, separations, rejections, and judgments of what you're aware of, spoken, non-spoken, will you destroy and uncreate everywhere you're making other people's points of view about awareness real and true? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, beyonds. And everywhere you're only willing to be aware of what other people say it's okay for you to be aware of, will you destroy and uncreate whoever you've made your reference point for awareness in any lifetime? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And if nobody, wow, oof, if nobody else can be aware for you, who are you looking to validate your awareness for you? So everywhere you will not be aware unless somebody else validates it first. Will you please destroy and uncreate all that? Even if it's scary because you're going to be the boss of your own universe. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay. So all of the logic, reason, explanation, understanding, thinking, and computing that you're using to exclude, refuse, distort, and transform free awareness into controllable bite-sized pieces of reality. Will you destroy and uncreate all this, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, as a humanoid, you will be free when you acknowledge that you're aware. So let's dive into this. What if, let's hypothesize for a moment. What if everything you ever thought was wrong with you was something that you were aware of that you were not acknowledging awareness of? Some examples. Actually, I'm going to give you an example from today that wasn't my awareness, but my husband's awareness, who has agreed to have all of his personal life shared in public by being married to me. But I know that he would want to share this awareness too. So he is becoming a pilot, and he has to do a lot of flights to to get your license. Like, you have to do like a bunch of flight hours. And so he's been doing these flights with a school in Australia because he's there right now. And the first time he went flying with this one instructor, he threw up. My husband threw up. For the first time ever being in an airplane, he threw up. And then he continued to go to lessons with this man. And my husband's been getting like progressively more and more sick for like the last few days. And so this morning I talked to him when I woke up, and as soon as I hung up with him, I felt sick. And I went, okay, I know this is Max's. Like, I knew it was because it wasn't there before I talked to him. And I used all my tools, like, who does this belong to? And okay, like, body, like, thank you for the information. By the way, when you get awareness, acknowledge it. Rather than, what do you usually try to do with awareness when you get it? Reject it, judge it, control it, understand it, ignore it, mostly ignore it. Because who teaches you how to utilize awareness? Almost nothing in this reality teaches you how to utilize awareness. So hopefully we're going to get to some more of that in this conversation. So I hung up with my husband and I felt sick, and I went, okay, I know this is his. And none of my like normal go-to quick fixes were working. So we talked again later, and I said, and he asked me, he said, well, what are you aware of in regards to him being sick? And I was like, no. What are you refusing to be aware of? And as soon as I asked him that question, I could sense this spark occur. Now, I'm really sensitive to that spark of awareness because I was raised by a man who essentially has asked me what I'm aware of for the last probably 25 years. It's never what's wrong with you. It's always, okay, so what are you aware of? What do you know? And so I've been really trained to look at awareness rather than to look at what's wrong or what the problem is. And that's a really big distinction for change. As soon as you look for what's wrong, you're going to find it. As soon as you look for what you're aware of, you're also going to find it, but it might not be as easy to find initially because you're so conditioned and used to making a problem out of awareness rather than creating freedom and expansion from awareness. So everything that is, for you guys to strain and create it, please. Thank you. Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, POC, shorts, boys, and beyond. So I asked Max, what are you refusing to be aware of? And he got the spark initially, like he got it and both of us perceived it, but he didn't quite want to know it, right? So I had to ask him a couple more times. And finally, what he said was, I don't want to be aware of my healing capacities. And as soon as he stated it, the whole energy shifted completely. And this is just an example of awareness. It's like most of us are willing to be completely aware of what's wrong with us, but how many of you guys really want to be aware of that you're a gift? And so what has occurred specifically for Max, and the reason I'm using this story is because I see this a lot in everybody, really, in all humanoids, how you naturally desire for everything to be better. You want to take away people's pain. You want people to be happy. You just want to take care of everything and everyone. And is that received? Do you acknowledge that you're a gift, or has the gift of awareness been rejected so much and so completely that you fundamentally now believe that your awareness is the source of the problem? So everywhere you've been brainwashed, conditioned, implanted, or explanted to believe that your awareness is wrong, faulty, corrupt, and the source of every problem in the universe. We destroyed a cradle that please. The rug of battle died, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And so here's a suggestion, something to really revolutionize your life. What if every time you had pain, whether it's physiological or psychological, you started with the question of, what am I aware of? What awareness is this? Now, to be fair, some awarenesses will be very easy to determine, right? Like when you eat too much and you like get a stomach ache, your body, you're like basically when you ask your body, like, body, what are you telling me? Like, what are you aware of? Your body's like, you ate too much. It's like, that one's like, those are like the simple, like sort of like 1-to-1 equations. Or like when you drink too much and like you're hungover the next day, like that's a pretty easy awareness to attribute. But then there's some awarenesses that you won't be able to define, that are so like outside of your scope of reality that you might not have a definition or be able to cognitize it in an organized way. And that has to be okay. Because you're going to be expanding awareness every time you rely on awareness. How many times have you rejected your awareness this lifetime alone? Probably more times than you can count, because you're geared towards rejecting it before you're even conscious that you're rejecting it. For example, I went out to get my car washed a couple of days ago, and I had an hour for them to do it. So I went to a coffee shop to get a cup of coffee and to do some computer work. And as soon as I walk into this cafe, it's like my zone just completely collapsed, and I felt it. And like, I didn't want to, I just was like not comfortable. And I'm like standing talking to the girl behind the register, and she's like a total fucking asshole. And I'm like collapsing and trying to like deal with her and make my life work and be aware of everything. And go sit down. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I will not let everything that I'm aware of control me. And I didn't even really exactly specifically know what I was picking up on. Like, yes, the girl behind the counter was a fucking asshole. And she was angry about her life in all sorts of ways. She was so angry that she made sure that I got cow's milk instead of oat milk. And we had like this big long conversation about what kind of milk they were going to use, da 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 da. So I'm sitting there, and I had to make this really conscious choice to be me amongst everything that I was aware of. it wasn't like everything that I was aware of went away. It wasn't like all of a sudden everything became rainbows and light and happy and easy and amazing. And it wasn't like I could be the source for transforming all of that energy in that moment. But what I was able to be was me, and not make all the stuff that was going on in that cafe my problem. So how much are you aware of that has nothing to do with you personally, that you're never going to be able to change because, number one, no one's fucking asking you. Number two, they don't want to change it. It's only you that wants things to be different. How much awareness are you making your problem? Who would you like to destroy it and create? Eating everyone else's shit constantly? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyond. This is the other thing. Just because you're aware doesn't mean you have to do anything. This is what's so brilliant about awareness. It's like this, just because you can breathe doesn't mean you have to do anything. I mean, essentially you want to keep breathing, right? But you're not like, okay, I can breathe. Now what do I do with it? You just keep breathing. Awareness is the same. And I have found personally, and also with many people that I've facilitated over the years, that there's this huge block about, okay, I'm aware of this, now what? Wrong question. The question is, what am I aware of? What is this? Oh, it's the grumpy bitch behind the counter, right? What do I do with this? Can I change this? And if so, how do I change this? And it was so amazing because as soon as I realized like I was collapsing my zone for the grumpy bitch behind the counter, and I just stopped. It wasn't like I was like, oh, she's so wrong. It was more just like, okay, never mind. Like she's grumpy and it has absolutely nothing to do with me in my life. She is of absolutely no value or relevance in this equation at all. And as soon as I did that, this guy came over who worked there. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I gave you the wrong milk. Let me make you 3 more free cappuccinos and give you a free cake and give you the Wi-Fi password and completely take care of you the whole time. It was just this, when you are the gift of awareness, you increase receiving. When you reject awareness, you disconnect from receiving. And this is this very powerful expression or lack of expression of consciousness. Let me talk more about this. Is awareness a gift or a curse? So everywhere you've judged awareness to be a curse, everywhere you've bought your awareness to be a curse, and everywhere you were told that your awareness was a curse, we revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, destroy, and uncreate all this, please. Wow. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Whose realities are you validating with the refusal and rejection of awareness you're choosing? And everything that is, we destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Is awareness a gift or a curse? Let me give some more information about awareness and how it can display and demonstrate itself. So years and years ago, when my sister had her first son, my first nephew, she called me one day on Zoom, and he was really little. He was probably before the age of 1. And he was just crying and crying. He was having one of those days where he was just nonstop. She couldn't, and she was like at her wit's end. She was like, I don't know what to do. He's just like so like screaming and grumpy all day long, and I'm just fatigued. And I said to her, I asked her, is he trying to gift you something? And as soon as I asked that, he stopped crying. And what was occurring was he was working on her, essentially, perceiving something in her world, trying to take away her pain, something, right? Have you ever wanted to heal, to help, to make your parents happy? Was that received? Or when you demonstrated that you were aware of their universe, they said to you, "What's wrong with you?" And right there is the beginning of misidentifying and misapplying awareness. So let's go back to the first time somebody invalidated your awareness and taught you how to misidentify it. Let's go back, way back to when you were just a baby. And turn that molecule of confusion. Now, what would occur if your parent or whoever was your primary person turned to you and asked through their own zone of awareness, what awareness are you showing me? And then they received it. So everywhere and every way you've been stuck ever since in what your primary parent will not, cannot, and refuses to receive, to be, and to know. Will you destroy, undo, and create all that, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, pod, box, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Awareness is a superpower. It bypasses, it literally is the most potent element in the universe. It changes everything. If you're stuck in some area of your life, if something's not working, and I mean everything, I mean physiologically, I mean psychologically, I mean financially, I mean in your relationships, I mean everything. Every molecule is conscious. The only reason it's not working is because of a lack of awareness. So, what could be some awarenesses that you're refusing, that you could be choosing, that would and could change everything? And everywhere you don't want to change everything and then have to refuse all the awareness that would change everything, we destroy and create all that. Yeah. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot, pock, shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes. Wow. Very good. Wow. That's giving me like vibrations in my uterus. What awareness are you refusing that you could be choosing that if you chose it would change everything? And everything that doesn't allow you to be a source for the transformation of everything with so much ease. May you destroy and uncreate all this. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, pock, shorts, boys and beyonds. So for those of you guys that have the courage to be aware, and let's face it, awareness is a hugely persecuted thing in our universe, in this reality. It is discouraged by all people, either through direct refusal or just through insanity and stupidity. So you're going to have to really build up your strength for awareness. And I'm saying that more as a bit of information so you don't give up when it's hard in the beginning, if it's hard in the beginning. You get better at it. The more you ask, what am I aware of? What awareness will change this? Like literally, what awareness is this and what awareness am I missing or what awareness do I need to be having is my number one go-to everything for every single thing that ever goes on in my life. That is where I go first, period. And this is what my dad taught me. And it's not, I don't do it because he taught me. I do it because it works. And it's the most direct, it's the best, easiest, fastest way to direct change. So, for example, if I'm having difficulty in my business or I'm struggling with a relationship or like learning a new skill, even, okay, what awareness is this that I'm refusing? What do I need to be aware of here? For example, wow, I could give you 8 trillion examples. I mean, even stuff like recognizing where someone's functioning from that you don't really want to know that they're functioning from. So something that my dad's been really trying to get me to like be aware of. By the way, when I say my dad, I mean Gary Douglas. He's the founder of Access Consciousness. If you don't know who he is, you should go find out because he is a truly great man. So sometimes I've been stuck with things in my business and my relationships. And he says, and I'll go to him and I'll be like, I'm really stuck here. Like, I'm really, like, I can't change this. I'm stuck. And he says, well, are they being honest? He says, actually, mostly what he says to me is, honey, not everybody wants to be honest like you. And I have listened to him say that for like literally years. And only recently have I gotten that what I'm reacting to is that I do not want to recognize, I don't want to be aware of how much people lie, how much people lie to themselves, first and foremost. Like every time that you say you don't know, you're lying to yourself. Every time you judge yourself, you're lying about yourself to yourself. So this like, there is this deep dishonesty that's like completely socially acceptable and demonstrated by people like all the time, all over the place. And I don't know why I actually don't quite get why honesty is such a huge thing for me, except for that I think I just need to acknowledge it more for myself and stop expecting others, right? So I also have to be aware of my expectations because as soon as I expect something of somebody, I've also left awareness and entered expectation. So all of the exits from awareness that you use, will you destroy it and create all of those? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys and youngs. And if awareness was the source for all change, okay, so pick something for yourself right now that you'd like to change. Whether it's the way your stomach feels, whether it's a relationship with somebody, your house, whatever, right? Pick something. Each of you get your thing. Just one thing. Cool. Okay, now, what awareness are you going to have to add to change that? Now, even if you don't get it right now, right? Like some of you guys might have actually had something that popped. Some of you guys might have just had this sort of like murky kind of like, okay, awareness, where do I even start, right? But if you ask every single day, what awareness can I add to this to change this? Or what awareness am I refusing that if I would acknowledge it, would change this? I guarantee you, if you ask one of those questions every single day, within 3 weeks, there's going to be some huge change. And if the change isn't coming, it's not because you can't change, it's because you don't want to change. What awareness are you refusing that if you would choose it, would allow change to occur beyond your control? And everything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and create it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. All right, Vivian, you're the lucky person whose question I'm going to take right now. If you're there, you've got your hand up. Going once, going twice.
Hi. Thank you so much. It's my first call with you. You're amazing. Okay, I'll start.
Wow.
I'll start.
This is your first call with me? Amazing.
And I kind of knew that my question might be picked because I feel like other people might relate, but okay, I'm going to ask. So my daughter, she is 3.5. Well, no, she's going to be 4 in October. And I know she's special. I came to Access a year ago, so I kind of just realized a year ago how special she was and how aware she is. And I feel like it hasn't been so easy for me to have such an aware child. And I wanna be able to let her be that, and I wanna see how I can be more of a contribution to her, because I feel like sometimes, for example, she tends to get so scared of everything, and I lose my head a little bit.
So what's the question, Vivian?
The question is, how can I deal with her being so aware and being, yes, how can I deal with it?
So yeah, you're actually asking like a massive question that's not just one thing, which is fine. But I just want to say before I start that we're not going to be able to totally cover this whole thing.
Yes.
So number one, you might want to look at, okay, how do we start this? Is your daughter aware? You've stated you think she's aware, right? You're like, yeah, she's aware, okay? Can your daughter also be controlling?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little tricky to have this conversation because we're not actually talking about your awareness. We're talking about your interfacing with somebody else's awareness, which is adding like this whole other extra component of difficulty onto it. So let's exclude your daughter for a second, okay? Let's just your awareness. Okay. So what must you know? What must you be an allowance of in yourself that would allow you to empower your daughter and never protect her? What energy, space, and consciousness can you all be to never protect your children for all eternity? And everything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and girls. When you go to protect your children, what point of view precedes that?
Maybe cutting awareness.
When you go to protect your child, are you looking at your child as somebody who is capable or somebody who is not capable?
Somebody who's not capable.
So do you want to raise a capable female or an incapable female?
Capable female.
So it's really less, and I'm dead serious when I say, what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to never protect your children? Because as soon as you go into protection, you've already aligned and agreed that there's a problem. And then they feel this problem in your universe. They're like, where's the problem? Where's the problem? Whereas if you're always in question, it allows them to start to know what they know. Something that my dad taught me that is priceless. Awareness is the greatest protection. Defense, rejection, control does not work. Awareness is greater than everything. For example, if you are aware, you will not be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Period. If you empower your children to know what they know and to be aware, they will always have awareness. If you protect your children when they must be the source of their own awareness, you are a controlling parent who will raise emotionally dependent children who will never be a source for greatness in the universe. So everywhere that that was done to you, let's destroy and uncreate all that, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. It doesn't matter if your daughter's right. It doesn't matter if you're right. And it really doesn't matter if you're wrong, because how many judgments are there on being a parent? 8 trillion billion. And as soon as you get through one, there's some other huge pile of steaming, crappy judgment for you to be aware of. Be aware of. Be aware of. Be aware of. What energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to never protect your children for all eternity? And everything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, puck, shorts, boys and beyonds. This is a very different way of parenting, but you cannot protect your children from awareness. How much are you trying to protect your children from being aware of stuff? Newsflash, they're already aware of it. So how about you empower them through your own being, not by what you say, because most of you guys are lying when you're talking, but by demonstrating awareness through your being. You can never tell somebody you're aware. You can't prove awareness, but you can be aware for free, very easily. And those who desire greater awareness will gain from your awareness. Those who do not desire greater awareness will leave your life, even if they're your children. Okay. So Margarita, you have your hand up as well with the nice red
Thank you.
glasses.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
I actually have no questions. I just want to say how grateful I am for you being so transparent. And you're such a source of energy that whenever I'm having a bad day, a bad situation, I just link into any of your programs. And you're just like a river. Like,
you know, my
we
name means
merge.
river. My name means river.
No way.
Shannon means river in Irish.
Man, that's beautiful. So I just, it's just, you're just this energy. I just merge into yours. And it's so beautiful because everything opens up and life
Thank you.
seems easier.
Well, how does
And
it get better? How does it get better?
it
And
does.
thank you for that. Thank you for that. And it's like, okay, how does it get better? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Swarna Vijay Madhavan. With your daughter behind you on the computer.
Hi, Shannon.
Hello.
Hi. This is my first meeting with you, and I met
Amazing.
years. How does it get better than this? When I did my access bus, I saw your video along with Dane. So that's the first time, and now I'm meeting you in live. My father died when I'm studying 6th standard.
Okay,
So
I'm going to repeat
then
what you're saying. Your father died when
I'm studying standard 6.
your father died and you're studying something?
Grade 6th.
Your father died when you were in grade 6.
Huh.
Got it.
So from then, I felt the insecure space because of money. And even till today, I'm getting some, everything revolves around money, and I am into the space of lack. And soon after the access, I'm finding some clearing statements. Apart from that, I wish to have the affection. The underneath is the affection and love. So, what statement have I to put on so that I feel secure, I feel love, and what does it get better than this? What else is possible? Please guide me over this.
Okay. Uh, well, what really stood out about everything that you said was lack. Question. What essentially what I want to get to is this thing where, you know how it's so easy to pick up on lack? Lack is like this really prevalent energy. Like people are constantly like functioning from this incredible depth of lack in their life. They lack their being, they lack money, they lack the ability to choose, to change. There's this like deficiency that's so easy to pick up on. But what is, I think, super interesting about that is that no one actually lacks. There is no limit. This is what's true. There is only infinite energy. Now, I know that me saying there's only infinite energy sounds like some weird fairy tale or like nice idea that some extraterrestrial believes. There, if you look at what's real, okay? Now, when people think, is that real? No. What demonstrates what's real mostly? The earth. People are mostly insane and not demonstrating what's real. So if you look to the earth, nature, and this is actually one of the really big things that my dad used to teach me about infinite possibility, was he would say, how does the earth create? And I was like, oh, well, it just does. He would say, if you were being an infinite being, what would you choose? And what's true is that you are all infinite beings with access to infinite energy. So what is it that creates the appearance of lack? Ooh, I wonder if it's your point of view. So every time that I go into I can't, or this is too much, or I'm not enough, or there isn't enough, like even I just did this, I made a mistake. We'll see if it was actually a mistake, transferring a really large sum of money. So I had to convert it and then move it. And converting money in the bank is very expensive. And I just couldn't get around it. I had to convert this large sum of money and I sent it, but I didn't put the receiver's name on it. So the bank sent it back and I couldn't hold the currency that it was converted into. So anyways, big money dramas. But essentially, like they wanted to convert and change the money back, and changing that amount of money, I was going to lose like $10,000. And I'm like, fucking try to avoid this. Like my life depends on it. I'm like, what else can we do? What else can we do? So like literally I've been working this out with the bank for like a month and a half because they're really slow. And I just kept being in question and kept being in question and kept being in question. And it actually came down to that I had to convert the money back, which to me looked like I wasn't getting my way. Like somehow magic didn't work. Like this isn't what I want, right? And so I was like really resistant to this. And I went, okay, I have to submit to this. I can't, there's literally, no matter how much I try to change this isn't changing, right? So, and I went, okay, so what if losing $10,000 because I made an administrative mistake wasn't a loss? What awareness is this? What will I gain from this? And what else is possible? And I refuse to buy that there is a limit. And I had to keep telling myself, I was like, it's only $10,000. it's not a big deal. It's only 10,000. Like I had to really psych myself out of the problem and into the possibility. And as soon as I go into, as soon as I believe that there's a lack at all, I am controlled by this reality. But if I believe and buy into lack, I have given away awareness. If I am being aware, I know that there's always more possibility. Always. Now, and I'm saying that not from this imaginary place, like really, I truly have a huge amount of experience with watching how consciousness provides and how the universe is abundant. But the fundamental thing you're going to have to really question in your universe is your point of view. Now, living in India is like a whole other thing, because India, there is such this, it is so geared towards lack. It is not a country that feels fulfilled. There's a lot of need in India. That being said, is it real? Or is it just a choice people are making? So, and this is a huge conversation, and that sort of sense of like, it was interesting how you asked for it, because you asked for feeling secure, which is interesting. Just like a news flash, just so that everybody can stop wasting energy on wanting to be secure. There is no such thing as security. Like, we live on an earth that's so delicately balanced, any second the whole world could just shake and everything's gone. Like, there is no real security. What I think you're looking for is an unnatural reality that cannot exist. Nature is constantly on a create and destruct. Destruction, erosion is part of generation and creation. There is no real security, but what awareness are you refusing that is actually the security you could be choosing? With awareness, you know what energy to be, what question to ask, what action to take, and what point of view to make through awareness. But like I said, it's like this conversation, I sort of, to a certain degree, I have to acknowledge that it's almost like we're talking about astrophysics. Like, it's extremely advanced, even though it's extremely simple. Like, you don't actually have to get a master's degree in awareness, but you sort of do need to get a master's degree in awareness, because there is little to no education about it. It's like, when you go to school, are they like, what are you aware of? Or do they just turn you into a robot that repeats the right answer? So you're not taught to be aware. And that's what I'm trying to do with you right now. But I know it feels very undefined, which can feel like it isn't substantial enough to be relevant. But awareness doesn't feel like a solid block. Awareness is this very quick, light, transformational thing. When you refuse awareness, that's when it turns into a solid block of rock. So what awareness is the security that you're looking for, okay? You cannot protect your children and you can never be secure, but you can be aware. Awareness is superior to security. It's this space and place of the willingness to live and to thrive on quicksand. How much awareness do you refuse with the conclusions you're seeking? And everywhere that you guys think that if you get to the right conclusion, eventually you'll feel okay, or you'll feel like you fit, or you'll feel not wrong. It's like, what if it's not the conclusion that's going to set you, what if it's not the conclusion that you're looking for, but the awareness that leads to more awareness, that leads to even greater awareness, that never stops expanding into awareness. So everywhere you are refusing the awareness that expands into even greater awareness, that you will never be able to conclude about, will you destroy and uncreate all that, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Very good. Thank you. Sasha. Thank you, honey. It's you, Miss Sasha.
Hi,
Hey, hey, hey.
how are you?
Is that a trick question?
No, not meant to be. Sorry if it is. So, just like everyone else, I'd like to say you're amazing. So, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So, if it's like, is it okay if I ask?
Please go on. Speed
So,
up.
you mentioned the coffee shop experience, and you talked about being you with the awareness, and I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about that. And I'm asking the question because I recently went on a work do, and I just kind of crashed in. Everyone's kind of crazy, and it became a fight to be me. I embody the tools and I get better at it, and So just more information on that, really. So
what's the question?
So when you were in the coffee shop, you said you were really aware and it was kind of all going on, and you made that choice to be you with that. And
well, I think it might be a little bit complicated to say I made the choice to be me. I did make the choice to be me, but who understands what that means? So it's more like, I think if we rephrase it, I made the choice to stop making what I was aware of relevant.
Okay. And then if it's uncomfortable, it's just uncomfortable.
Awareness is uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know.
In fact, if you need to be comfortable, consciousness is like so not for you. Like you should stop now.
I think I secretly quite like being uncomfortable. I keep choosing it. So
what will it take to be okay with being uncomfortable all the time? I think that's sort of like, and it's really interesting because it was sort of like what the last woman's question was sort of like, she was like, actually, she kind of even went, she was like, be secure. It was like she was hugging herself to find some sort of comfort amongst this sea of awareness. That's just not how it goes. Comfort is definitely not on the table. Space, ease is.
Okay. I'll play with that.
Is this relevant? Is like the cut through quick all. Like it's such the superpower. Dane and Gary they did a global access foundation class like some months ago. And there was a whole big warning about, is this relevant? Like and so actually I wanted to say this for those of you guys, because we're going to keep going now for a little bit longer, but we will finish this call and you will have tons of more questions. The Access Foundation class, like the tools of Access essentially are the quick all, the cure all for accessing greater ease with awareness. Like that's what Access is. It's number one, getting you aware that you're aware, and then it's, okay, now what the fuck do I do with all this? Like, you're like, okay, I'm aware of all this. Now what, And the reason it's easy for me to choose to not be at the effect of what I'm aware of is because I have practiced for years. And one of the things two of the tools that I use that really help, take it or leave it, is this relevant, right? And not my problem. Not my problem. Which as a humanoid feels weird because we are so geared towards healing everybody all the time, which in a perfect world would be like heaven. But we do not live in a perfect world. We live in a world where people do not want to change. And so if you try to change and fix and heal and help those who do not fucking want it, that's when you get stuck with their shit. How many of you guys have tried to gift something to somebody who didn't fucking want it and you got stuck as fuck with it, for like lifetimes you got stuck with it, So everything, will you let go of all those people now and all their problems, right? Welcome back, all 9 pod shorts, boys and beyonds. And is it your fault when something doesn't change? So everywhere you think that you're the source and center of the universe and Jesus Christ and God Almighty, and that if you can't change it, then obviously there's something wrong with you because you should be able to change everything because you're the center of the universe. We destroy and uncreate all that.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, beyonds. It's something else that I feel like should be really obvious that isn't, that I'm just going to state, is that other people's upset has nothing to do with you. Like nothing. When people are upset, they're showing you what's going on for them, not what's going on for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like, and I mean, my God, I dream of a world where awareness is king. Could you imagine how different our world would be and how much bullshit gets perpetrated because people just deny their knowing? But if everyone's aware and everyone knows they're aware and it's okay to be aware and it's not going to be like a witch hunt because of your awareness, you know? Awareness is king. It is, period. It's like the most judged, twisted thing. So when you have awareness, it's like you're at the effect of it rather than you're affecting everything with your awareness, which is, I've shifted it. Like instead of me being at the effect of what I'm aware of, I'm like, oh, well, I am going to change your fucking ass with what I'm aware of. Not from the place of you have to change because I think you should change, more like change or get the fuck out of my way, which is more like my disposition. It's more like, that's just me. I don't think everyone should do that. It's not everyone's cup of tea. We're all different. And I've recognized that awareness, it's like this battle. It's like this psychic sphere, right? And awareness can be and has been very attacked. It's attacked by demons. It's attacked by judgmental people who like to control you because when you are aware, you cannot be controlled. So how much awareness are you refusing to maintain the control over you that you're choosing? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. How much control over others are you using to exclude how much control over others? Wow. Oh, how much do you guys immediately start to control what you're aware of rather than be aware? So everything that is, you guys destroy and then create it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, mans. It's this thing of like, I really don't want to be aware of what is going on in this person's universe. If I can control it, maybe they'll change it and then everything will be okay and I don't have to be aware of the destruction or the erosion. Okay, so okay, let's see here. Okay, you're gonna have to help me with your name. Danhiha Trabzuni. Donna.
Hi.
Yep. Yes.
Hello.
You. Hello.
Hi. My name is Dania. Yeah.
Danya, thank you.
Pronounce
Thank
it
you.
perfectly right.
Oh, thank you.
First, I just want to express my gratitude. And my question is, when you were talking with the lady asked about her daughter, I was trying to be aware of how can I apply what you were saying with my parents. I have two elderly parents I'm dealing with.
Right.
And since I started this awareness journey, there was a period of times like things will be very fine. And then there's a certain time when I feel I'm moving to a different level or moving to a different kind of awareness. I feel there's a lot of clashes, judgments, rejection, and resistance. And I'm guessing part of it, as you said, part of it not mine, but part of it I know it's coming from me, and it's exactly coming from the point you're saying. I don't want to realize what's going on with words, and I feel sometimes shocked, but at the same time, they are my parents. I love them, and sometimes this love gets buried with
whoa, stop. Whoa, wow. You just justified everything with, but at the same time, they're my parents. So will you destroy and create all the shit that you eat based on, but they're fill in the blank. Will you destroy and create all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, PUD, PUC, shirts, boys, and okay, so let's take the parent thing off the table. I'm going to ask you this question might be too much, but would an infinite being have parents? So we tend to predicate a lot of abuse of this reality on things that aren't true. Like, when they die, are they still going to be your parents? When you die, are you going to have parents? Would an infinite being have parents? Or does your body have a genetic contributor?
Okay.
So that's that. Let's go to the other thing. I think actually the easier part, which is adding interesting point of view. So have you done the Access Foundation?
Not the foundation. I did only the Access Bars class.
Is interesting point of view in the bars? I actually don't know. I haven't done the bars class in about a million years.
Very briefly.
Very briefly.
It's depend on the trainer. Sometimes they go on with it. Sometimes it depends on the time.
Yeah. Depending on if they know how to use interesting point of view or not. They're like, let's skip interesting point of view. That one's hard for me. So one of the primary building blocks of consciousness to get to greater ease is interesting point of view.
Okay.
And it is it's sort of like what I was just saying about not my problem, or is this relevant? Those are sort of two other ways of getting to interesting point of view. But essentially, you literally will never access everything that you're aware of if you have a point of view. You have to interesting point of view is your it's like penicillin. It neutralizes the infection of anti-consciousness. So interesting point of view. All my points of view are just an interesting point of view. All of your points of view are just an interesting point of view. Everything that I'm perceiving right now is just an interesting point of view. As soon as you take a point of view, you've left awareness. You've gone into point of view. So it's very important. And what an interesting exercise for you to practice now, especially with your parents. What if your parents were just an interesting point of view? Oh, interesting point of view, mom's doing that. Interesting point of view, dad's doing that. What if you didn't have to make their choices your problem? Will you allow them to choose what they need to choose? Mm-hmm. Even if it is hurtful to them. So everywhere you guys don't want to be aware of what you know you can't change, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, PUD, PUC, shorts, boys, beyonds. There's a lot of freedom in letting people suffer who are choosing to suffer.
Ooh, okay.
Otherwise, you're going to crucify yourself for something that they're not asking for. Okay, so interesting point of view, interesting point of view, interesting point of view. Become a master of interesting point of view.
Okay.
And what if you never got to have another point of view again? Then what would you have? Ooh, I wonder what you would have beyond point of view. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to take two more questions and then we're going to finish. I'm going to take Priscilla and I'm also going to take Camilla. Okay.
Hi, Shannon. Thank you very much. So I just took your talk to the entities class, and my question is, how can I be more awareness with all these sensations that I
Yeah.
have?
Can you tell me which talk to the entities class?
Sorry?
Can you tell me which talk to the entities class?
Beginning.
When was that? Was that in the beginning of the year that we did that?
Oh, with another facilitator.
Oh, okay. You took I like that. It's my talk to, I like that. It's my talk to the entities class with another facilitator. Yes, please.
Yes. Sorry, English is not my first language. So
No worries. No
I'm
worries.
trying.
You sound good. Thank you.
Thank you. So and I also did the foundation, and I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Well, it's super interesting because what starts occurring when you start doing more access is you start becoming aware in ways that you don't have a reference point for. So a lot of times what I try to emphasize, and what I'm actually going to emphasize to you guys as well, is moving forward, rather than going into the wrongness like immediately.
Yeah.
You have to ask, is this more awareness?
Yeah. So I think I'm in the question more than before. So I sometimes I feel like I don't know, maybe I know. No, maybe I know that I how can I explain it? So I think my body is telling me something. I'm not awareness of what is telling me.
Not yet, you're not aware. Not yet, you're not aware.
Not yet.
But if you keep asking, body, what are you telling me? Like, body, what awareness is this? If you keep asking and keep asking and keep asking and destroy and create all your conclusions and projections and expectations about your body and what it's telling you, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, fun, functions, boys and beyonds, you have to keep asking to like activate the muscle of awareness. Like right now, the muscle of awareness with your body is atrophied. It's asleep. You haven't used it in a really long time. So it doesn't, it's like you're not accessing it very easily. But the more you ask, what am I aware of? Body, what awareness is this? Body, what are you telling me? I promise you, sweetheart, it will get easier.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It does. It just be persistent. Don't give up. Don't quit. You got this. Keep going. Keep going. I've been doing it for fucking 25 years and I'm just finally starting to feel like I've got a grip on being greater with more ease. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you really much, honey. Okay, Camilla.
Hey, hi there. Thank you. With the point of view talk, for me, I had this feeling that if I don't have any point of view, then what's left? Life's gonna be plain.
Dude, totally.
Especially with relationships, like a romantic relationship. If I'm aware of everything, then I don't do anything. It's like this emptiness.
I actually had that exact same point of view. I remember my dad asking me, like, when I was like a teenager, he was like, what would happen if you let go of all your points of view? And I thought I would lose myself. Like, I didn't want to, because then what? Nothing. So first of all, how many of the points of view that you have aren't even yours to begin with?
Yeah.
Is point of view what creates reality? Or is question, choice, leading to greater possibilities that allow you to be a contribution to the universe and allows everything in the universe to contribute to you beyond your controls, beyond your limitations, beyond your mom's limitations, beyond your dad's limitations? What if you are greater? What if there is more awareness in being that cannot be accessed through point of view. Okay, so everything that is, you guys just try and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, guns. And what if, let this play a game. What if your entire life, when you were asked, like, what do you think? What if instead of them asking you what you think, what if they asked you what you were aware of? So how is awareness different than point of view?
So much lighter.
It's lighter. Now, how else is it different?
I don't know. For me, it's just this expansion more than
Mm-hmm.
a conclusion.
There we go. There's the magic word. How much conclusion is there in point of view? And how much expansion is there in awareness? So it's really just a preference. Do you want to conclude for the rest of your life, or do you want to expand consciousness? Awareness is valid. It is a valid place to function from. It's just very different than everybody else. But it's the same as the whales and the trees and the birds and the bees. They don't take a point of view. They're aware. And you have this gift of sentience. Are you using it to expand consciousness? Or do you use your sentience to subtract consciousness from the universe? Know yourself through awareness, not through conclusion. There is no conclusion. The universe is an ever expanding, infinite source of energy. Literally, energy can never begin or end. There is no conclusion that you will find comfort in. You will never be right, and you will never be wrong. You will be strong. Now let's find out what's beyond point of view for a more interesting world. I'm not particularly interested in your point of view, but I'm very interested in what you're aware of.
Thank you. Because I just got the insight that I was using awareness to get life right.
Yeah, to come to conclusion. It's super interesting. I mean, Gary is really, and I mean, the reason I'm mentioning Gary, my dad, so much is because he's the one that taught me about awareness. Like, I remember him saying at one point, he said, somebody asked him, like, what's the point of awareness? And he said, to get to more awareness. And I realized that what I had been using awareness for was to come to conclusion. If I get the right awareness, I'll have the right answer, I'll have the right, and which is actually impossible. As soon as you come to conclusion or have a point of view with awareness, you've lost awareness. You're now in something else. You can have preferences. Preferences are different than points of view. So first, you start with interesting point of view. There is no point of view that is relevant, right, or real. And if points of view can't be relevant, right, or real, because they're not, they're artificially substantiated through your energy. So what could you really be contributing your energy to that would expand consciousness rather than just add to more fucking conclusions? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. Guys, I know I would love to get to, maybe I'll take one more question and then we're going to finish. Raquel, do you want to go, honey? Yes.
Hello. I can't believe it's me. Is it me?
It is you.
Oh, okay. Hi. I'm my first call with you as well. Thank you very much. And my question is about choice. How can I be sure I am really I'm making the choice to be more aware. I'm choosing happiness or I'm choosing joy. I don't know if I can make me
Well, if you're
understand.
if you're happier, that means you're choosing more happiness. But
Okay,
if you're
but
not happier,
you said, and on your example of the coffee shop, I think, you cannot. It's not your business if people are choosing sadness or something like that.
well, technically it is my business. Like I do work with a lot of sad people, but that's when they pay me. So when I'm in the coffee shop and there's some grumpy bitch who's not paying me, it's really not my business.
Yeah, but what I mean is, how do I know I am doing this choice? How I really do this choice?
How do you do anything?
I choose.
How do you know it? How do you do anything? See how weird the question is? How do I? You just do.
I just do, yeah.
I don't think you're asking me what you really mean, though.
I don't know, probably not. For example, about happiness. For example, I'm not feeling okay today. I'm feeling sad, but I want to choose happiness. I want to be happy.
Okay.
How can I change it? How can I choose? How can I choose? Sorry.
Well, you just can choose.
Like
That's
you,
not
the coffee
that's
shop.
not a Well,
Do this.
Just give me a second. Ooh. The thing is, you're asking like three very separate, very big questions that kind of go in different directions.
Okay.
First, with like feeling stuff, are you asking who does this belong to?
Yes.
And then? Do you know the tool who does this belong to?
Me?
Doesn't belong to you. So
you mean I'm feeling sad and I can ask if this sadness belongs to me?
Yeah. Do you know the tool who does this belong to?
Sorry?
Do you know the tool who does this belong to?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So
I do.
what's the difference that's occurring between us is that I know that it doesn't belong to me. You're still trying to make the heaviness that you perceive relevant.
Okay.
You find value in this reality. I do not. I do not value people's feelings.
Okay. I am seeing.
Especially if it's heavy. I definitely don't value it. I know when something's heavy, it's a lie. I know that. I know that. You're still not sure what's true for you. But at what point do you know?
Okay.
So I want to actually go back to the very beginning of this conversation. I asked at the very beginning of this call, if nobody else will acknowledge or validate your awareness, will you have it? I think, Raquel, what you might be suffering from is wanting other people to align and agree before you'll choose. So that's making yourself a slave to others.
Yeah.
to what others will and won't be aware of. So everywhere you guys are making yourselves slaves to what others will and won't be aware of, will y'all destroy and uncreate all that, please? Yeah. Right, wrong, about all lied, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. I don't know where my courage to just be fucking different came from, but I'm like, fuck it. I'll know this even if no one else will. Like, and I will. And even if somebody tells me it is impossible to get me to stop knowing now. It wasn't always that way. Like, I would give up my knowing, like, and I would go into doubt just because this reality is constantly like trying to get you to like not be you. And I just committed to ease, joy, and glory. And that's how I got here. So, tip, if it's heavy, it's a lie. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory is how I balance myself. Like, can you tell how, like, can all of you guys tell how she's asking? She's sort of like, I don't know where to go with all of this. I'm not even clear what my question is. It's like all this stuff that there is, which all of us can relate to. There's just all this fucking shit going on all the time, right? Like, we know, we can relate. And so what I do with all of that awareness is go towards the lightness. All of life comes to me with ease,
joy, and glory.
And if it's not ease, joy, and glory, I know it's not awareness and consciousness. And I fucking know it. And so when I'm heavy, if I'm unhappy, I'm like, oh, whoa, deep, doop, doop, doop. Whose point of view, where did I leave ease, joy, and glory? And whose fucking point of view am I making real and true here? It could be my husband's point of view. It could be my neighbor's point of view. It could be some fucking demon on the other side of the universe, you know? It's just, we're aware. So you're picking up on everybody's stuff all the time. And another thing that Gary says is you need to be the rock in the stream. So everything comes and moves around you, but you don't get tumbled down the stream with it. And that's what all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory can provide. So this is like the psychic training you're going to have to put yourself through. Like, you've got to remember the tools and then you got to use them. Beautiful. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yay. I totally, yes. And like, I want to keep working through this stuff with you guys, because you see how with just even a few minutes, we can get through some really huge breakthroughs. And so this is where I'm going to invite you guys to come do more classes. Like, it doesn't even have to be with me, but like, totally come do it with me. Like, I want you to. I want to spend this time with you working through how to give you guys the tools that you require and facilitate more ease. But you guys know that Access is this massive toolbox and there's so many facilitators, and it's like anything you need, like, we got you covered. Like, seriously, we got you covered. So how's it get better than this? What awareness are you refusing that you could be choosing, that if you chose it would allow all of life to come to you with ease and joy and glory? Please re-listen to this, everybody. There is so much content in here for you, okay? Don't worry right now if you still feel confused, if you feel lost. If you go back and you re-listen, you will hear what you need, okay? It's all in here for you guys. But I get it. Sometimes it takes a long time to like really substantiate interesting point of view. Like, that's a huge commitment to changing the way you think and the way you function. So how's it get better? Thank you, everybody, each and every one of you who came on here, who reached for this. It is so awesome that a call on awareness attracted this many people, and so many of you guys are like soaking it up like a sponge. You are the future of awareness. You have to start choosing awareness. So thank you, all the translators. Thank you, everybody who helped organize this, who works with me. I'm super grateful. Looking forward to seeing you guys all. Come on and choose more, or wait till next lifetime and then choose more. Whatever you want. Okay, it's your choice. Thank you, everybody. Bye.